Hey guys, Morgan here with the Daily Draft, where we take Magic one draft at a time. We are in a Battle for Zendikar Pack per Win Swiss draft, and we opened one of my favorite cards to open in this set, which is Exert Influence. 5 mana, gain control of target creature if its power is less than or equal to the number of colors spent to cast Exert Influence. Ostensibly, this really means that you can gain control. You have the possibility of gaining control of a creature with up to 5 power, but what it really means is you're usually gaining control of something with 3 power or greater. So we're gonna take it. Tajira Warcaller is something that we're passing, so I'm not really expecting to get a lot of good green pack 2. Touch of the Void, McKinney Slide Runner, and Herald of Kozilek are all really good red cards. So we might look into being more black, but we'll see. So we're just going to take Exert Influence here. Exert Influence is also a pretty powerful splash. So, that's also worth thinking about. This pack is pretty weak. The best cards in it are probably Cloud Manta and Kozilek Sentinel. I'm tempted to just take the Kozilek Sentinel. Even though we did pass a Touch of the Void and Herald of Kozilek. Cloud Manta is kind of a meh card. It's fine, but it's not exciting. And I think that speculating on good archetype enablers early is pretty powerful. We could also look at the Colostria Healer, which is pretty good in the ally deck. So something also worth considering. But I think I just want to take the Herald of Kozilek. It also has the benefit of being just a huge wall in the early turns of the game. Yeah. So here there's a Forerunner of Slaughter, which is a pretty sweet black-red card. Like I said, Exert Influence does not need to be... Blue doesn't need to be a main color. It can definitely be a splash. And Forerunner of Slaughter makes me definitely want to consider going into black-red. There's also another Cloud Manta, and I'm willing to keep passing those. Adverse Conditions is pretty sweet, but it's not something I'd take over Forerunner of Slaughter. So I'm gonna take the Forerunner, and we're gonna see what happens. Alright, so here there's a couple of options. There's an Outnumber, an Incubator Drone, a Valakut Invoker, and a Blighted Cataract. Those are the cards I'm looking at. Outnumber is a pretty reasonable card. It tends to go kind of late, which is weird to me, but that's what happens. Valakut Invoker is probably... I don't know if it's better than Outnumber, actually. Incubator Drone is fine, but I think we want to stay in, red right now. Especially since we have been passing, I don't know about you, but some people at my local game store find that as find that to be a signal. Even if I don't, they do, and that's what really matters. So I'm probably just going to take the Outnumber because it appears as if red is open. Alright, perfect. We're going to take this Evolving Wilds here. Evolving Wilds is fantastic. There's a Sanctum of Ugin, which is one of my favorite cards in this set. Actually though, it draws you a card when you play a big creature. But I think splashing Evolving Wilds is more important than taking Sanctum of Ugin, especially when that card tends to wheel. I'm not expecting it to, but holy cow. So remember that lane that I said to stay in? Yeah, we found it. Yeah, so Sanctum of Ugin, if it doesn't wheel, I will be slightly heartbroken, but I'd rather have the Evolving Wilds because I'd rather play the Exert Influence that we have than, the Bane of Balagat that we don't yet. Here, Violet Aggregate is just an amazing pickup for this deck, especially this late. That's a huge signal, in my opinion. So we're gonna take it, and we're gonna follow it up with a Vestige of Emrakul. At this point, it's pretty reasonable for me to pick up as many colorless creatures as I can. Between the Stonewaker, the Looming Spires, and the Boiling Earth, what do I want? Boiling Earth isn't great against us. It is good against the Akum Stonewaker deck, But Akum Stonemaker is a fun, aggressive card, so I'm going to take it. We wheeled Slide Runner, which is nice. I probably wouldn't have taken the Stonemaker if I had known that we were going to wheel Slide Runner. Herald of Kozilek is gone. Touch of the Void is gone. There's also Swarm Surge that we could consider. But, like, Swarm Surge, if nobody's in the deck, is pretty easy to pick up. So I'm going to pass it for now. Here I'm going to take Slab Hammer. Slab Hammer is really fun in the Black-Red Devoid deck. Or the Red X deck, I suppose, because we're not really Black-Red right now. We're just red creatures with 400 of Slaughter and Exert Influence. Because you have things like Kozilek Sentinel that are just huge on their own, and then you pump their power, and your opponent suddenly is in a very awkward position where they can't really block it. Take Goblin Warpaint. I could also take Natural Connection. That's probably a better hedge, honestly. Here we're going to take the Swarm Surge. Shatter Skull Recruit's actually not bad. That card's a beating if you're not ready for it. Did not wheel the Sanctum of Ugin, but that's okay. Like, just a 4/4 for 5 is kind of hard for some decks to deal with, especially if you've been attacking them with Kozilek Sentinels and Vile Aggregates. So, yeah, I think going into Pack 2, we're kind of looking for a second color. For example, I could see actually going into red, or white, for this Angel of Renewal. And, like, it's the best card in the pack. We're not set up to be a red-white deck right now, like in the traditional sense, but we do have the fixing for it. Sort of, to a degree. I'd rather not take Zada or, like, Makindi Slide Runner first pick out of this pack. Vampiric Rites is also an option, but red isn't really known for its token production. So yeah, we're just going to take the Angel here as the best card in the pack. Interesting pick. There's a Touch of the Void here. There's a Touch of the Void here, but there's also a Blight Herder, and Blight Herder is just the stone cold nuts. So, especially with things like Vile Aggregate, where you can actually ingest pretty easily. So we're touching a Pass of the Void. We're passing a Touch of the Void, but it's for a card that's pretty superior in our deck, in my opinion. Well, here there's a Benthic Infiltrator, which is probably one of the better cards in the deck. Like, there's also a Clutch of Currents, but I'd definitely be taking the Benthic Infiltrator over it. There's a Kozilek's Channeler, but we can't really, especially now that we have the Blight Herder, we can't really discount the ability to ingest at will, basically. So, yeah, I think I'm just going to take the Benthic Infiltrator. Especially if somebody's passing. Blah! So, I don't know if you guys knew, but Vile Aggregate is probably my #1 favorite uncommon in this set. I think. I'll take it over Retreat to Emeria, if that, like, gives you any clues about how much I love it. And, picking up a second one is, again, pretty much the Stone Colds. So, we're gonna take it. There's, like, a Grave Birthing that I'd be really happy to wheel, because I'm not sure if I'm, like, actually blue. But I keep getting past good cards, so we never know. There's also a Merc Strider in this pack, actually, which is something worth considering. Benthic Infiltrator is probably just better. There's also a Sludge Crawler, but I think given the option, I'd rather have a Benthic Infiltrator over a Merc Strider and over a Sludge Crawler. Given, like, my only black card is this Forerunner of Slaughter. I'm considering taking the Royal Spout, actually, over the Dominator Drone, because we we might be playing like red, blue, splashing white anyway. So, like, that's an option. Dominator Drone is pretty good, but yeah, I think I want the Royal Spout. Here. Thank you. So we're gonna take it. Well, Gruesome Slaughter is a pretty interesting one. In this deck it seems pretty good. I could also take the Incubator Drone, which is really good with Vile Aggregate. I think we're going to take the Gruesome Slaughter and try it out. Until end of turn, colorless creatures you control gain tap. This creature deals damage equal to its power to target creature. So, you can't kill your opponent with it, but it is a pretty sweet, like, sweeper, basically. Valakut Predator is a really solid 3-drop. The thing about that is, we have some really solid 3-drops. So I'm just going to take the Vestige of Emrakul here and up my colorless creature count slightly more. Sure, I'll take another McKinney Slide Runner. I like, what? I like McKinney Slide Runners in this deck. What? Because they're really good at putting on early pressure that you can follow up with, like, really solid removal or whatever. We're just going to take this over the Culling Drone. I'm going to take a Grave Birthing here. It's the best card in the pack. Not close. Don't want to be beaten by the Earthen Arm deck. Having 4 McKinney Slide Runners makes me, like, eye this Goblin Warpaint, like, we're gonna take the Reckless Cohort so they can't block my McKinney Slide Runner. And, like, McKinney Slide Runner tends to get in, like, 3 to 4 damage before it gets blocked, which is pretty sweet. But yeah, like, McKinney Slide Runner is a great way to make your opponents look at, consider their lives and be like, what did I do that put me in this situation? Do I want to first pick a Sanctum of Ugin? Not particularly. Poor Sanctum of Ugin, always the bridesmaid, am I right? We're gonna pick up a Stone Fury. It's a solid removal spell in a deck that doesn't really have any yet. Ooh. This pick though. Duststalker is pretty sweet. It's a very aggressive card. Breaker of Armies is better though, I think, because like you want the late game that it provides. Yeah, I'm gonna take Breaker of Armies over the Duststalker here. Nettle Drone is a great pickup for me. Spawning Bed's also sweet, especially with double Vile Aggregate, but Nettle Drone is just a solid guy. Retreat to Valakut's kind of interesting in a deck with a couple of unblockable guys and a McKinney Slide and 4 McKinney Slide Runners, but I just want another Benthic Infiltrator. That's all I want to do. Just attack with Benthic Infiltrators the entire tournament. This is a really interesting deck. It's got doubles of cards that I don't really expect to get doubles of ever, and then like 1 Kozilek Sentinel. Like, I like Kozilek Sentinel a lot. More than a lot of people, I think. Do I want another Vestige of Emrakul? I kind of want this Ulamog's Reclaimer because Exert Influence. Yeah. We're gonna take that. It's still colorless, so I don't feel bad about it. I guess I take the Silent Skimmer because it brickwalls a lot of my creatures and I can side it in if I wanted. I'm gonna take one of these spell lands. I don't know whether it's gonna be the Blighted Fen or the Sandstone Bridge. I think it's the Blighted Fen. Blighted Fen is just better in a vacuum. So if I'm going to be playing one of them, I'd rather it be Blighted Fen. The correct answer is, I don't know, Morgan, you can attack with Nettle Drone and then tap it to ping somebody. Do I want a Valka Predator? Not particularly. Do I want a Blighted Gorge? Also not really. I'm just gonna hate draft this Colostria Nightwatch. Oh, we wheeled it. Is that even good here? Yeah, it's fine. Okay, we wheeled an Outnumber and a Valakut Invoker. I think we're just gonna take the Outnumber, given the number of McKinney Slide Runners we have. We want, like, cheap removal spells. And by cheap removal spells, I mean removal spells we don't mind wasting on just random creatures. I'll take the uncommon, that's semi-standard playable. So I think we cut Forerunner Slaughter for sure. Stonewaker here, yeah. We'll take Sure Strike. I'm not sure if we want to play it. Probably not. Valakut Predator is interesting. Like, I like this card a lot. But I'm not sure if it's worth playing, even with Slab Hammer. Like, I could see not splashing for the Angel of Renewal and the Royal Spout, and playing Grave Birthing and Swarm Surge instead. Like, it's interesting. Like, I'm definitely playing 3 colors because I want to be able to maximize this Exert Influence. I still need to cut 2 cards, though. So, like, I could just play Blighted Fen and a Swamp. But, like, Angel of Renewal and Royal Spout are so good. We'll probably cut at least 1 Slide Runner. Let's start with that. See, Vile Aggregate are huge. Gruesome Slaughter might not actually be great in this deck. We'll side it in if our opponent has a lot of, like, little derps. But against, like, larger creatures, you just can't. You just can't do anything with it, so. Yeah, we're gonna submit this. We're gonna play 2 planes, I think? Yeah, 2 planes because we have the Evolving Wilds as another source. 6 and 8. Sure, we'll submit. And the fun thing about Sanctum of Ugin, Breaker of Armies can get Blightherder. Like, that's super good. Yeah, so this deck is sweet. Got a couple of my favorite cards in the format here, like this guy, this card. So yeah, thanks for watching. Come back in a second for, you know, round 2.